In the headlines to the CBC NewsNight, a major initiative undertaken to reduce the length of time and frustrations associated with property transactions. Barbados presses the international community to scale up finance for climate adaptation. The Education Ministry intends to tackle head-on declines in literacy rates among students. And in sports, the round of 16 is set for the Prime Minister's Cup.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
A happy Friday evening to you. I'm Wendy Burke with the details. A major effort is being undertaken to speed up the current lengthy and frustrating process of property transactions enjoyed by locals and non-Barbadians. It's being spearheaded by government, with Prime Minister Mia Motley indicating that the time has come to make it easier for Barbadians to own land. Anesta Henry has the report.
Prime Minister Mia Motley says government is planning to make it easier for Barbadians to own a piece of the rock. That's the reason behind the government's first colloquium on transforming the land transaction process in Barbados. Prime Minister Motley is convinced that digitizing, simplifying, and speeding up the transaction process are vital to attracting international investors and helping Barbadians to realize their dream of becoming land and home owners.
Everybody needs shelter. And everybody should have the right to have security of shelter. And it should be affordable, and it should be accessible in good time. And if we continue to make the cost of land transactions as difficult, as high as they are, and if we continue to make the process even more than the cost, the process as difficult as it is, then we will have failed in this generation.
The Prime Minister is advising industry experts from the public and private sectors that they have a key role to play in investigating and solving issues surrounding land transactions, conveyances, and other hindrances.
You are the ones who have the knowledge. I am using one thing here, my power as Prime Minister to convene, because the time has come for us to put these things behind us. This meeting today will not be the end of the process. In fact, for you on this side of it, it is the beginning of the deconstruction and the reconstruction. For me, we have put down investments earlier to prepare for this day. The time has come, however, for us now to use the collective expertise in this room to deconstruct and reconstruct and to give the average Bajan the not promise, the reality.
Scores of participants, including members of the public, attended the event hosted by the Ministry of Housing, Lands and Maintenance and chaired by Prime Minister Motley. Industry experts presented on topics including survey plans, planning permissions, the mortgage process, digital conveyancing with the electronic filing of documents, and the digital signatures, among others. Minister of Housing, Lands and Maintenance Dwight Sutherland says discussions with stakeholders revealed that it can sometimes take years to complete land transactions, while in other jurisdictions it can take as little as a week.
It is with this in mind that the government sees it as imperative that the land transaction process be transformed as part of a measure that could stimulate economic growth. A streamlined land transaction process can attract both local and foreign investors, boost property values, and increase tax revenue.
Following the event, there is expected to be a clearer picture of the way forward and a commitment from all stakeholders to remove the bottlenecks from property transactions. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
Barbados continues to press for a scaling up of adaptation finance, taking its message to a pre-COP meeting in Baku, Azerbaijan. The meeting brought together ministers to discuss key political aspects of the negotiations, to find solutions to outstanding issues, and set the tone for the upcoming United Nations Climate Change Conference of Parties set for next month. Minister in the Prime Minister's office with responsibility for culture, Senator Dr. Chantal Munro-Knight, told the forum a right-sizing of the financial architecture is required along with the global governance system.
We need, first of all, to deal at the macro level in order then to be able to address some of the other systemic issues in relation to the provision of funding for adaptation and climate finance generally. And that reform, and agreeing again, one has to be one that provides space at the table for developing countries, again, in order to provide that level, again, of ownership and right sizing. So that's first. Two is in terms of the support for innovative mechanisms, yeah? So it requires that we kind of flip the script in relation to the traditional ways and mechanisms for financing.
Munro-Knight stressed the need for collaboration across ministries and climate budgeting.
Yeah, which is an important kind of model. So now all ministries in Barbados have to report during their estimates on their climate budgeting, which is pulled out and identified, brings in Ministry of Finance, but also then builds ownership as well across local ministries. But then at the end of the day, we have one plan that everybody has agreed that we then take to all investors, and we ask everybody again to agree similar modalities for the provision then of the funding that is again long-term. So it means that we have a coalesced and coherent approach that is important.
Barbados has welcomed the inclusion of Caribbean states in discussions at the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC. Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Greg Humphrey at a previous forum had pushed for greater involvement of the Caribbean. Minister Humphrey extended thanks to the leadership of ECLAC for making the region feel more welcomed and integrated into various discussions. The Barbadian minister is in Peru for the 40th session of ECLAC. He participated in a panel discussion in how to reduce inequality and foster inclusion and social mobility on day 2 of the event. During that forum, he shared the policies implemented by Barbados aimed at reducing inequality.
In relation to education, the Caribbean has a very strong education system. Most of us have populations 95, 96, 97% literate. And of course, there are challenges, and we do need to reflect on those challenges. A significant amount of our resources are spent on social protection, significant amount, 11.4%, for example, of Barbados' GDP on social protection, including health. The same thing in relation to national insurance. So there are things that we've put in place to ensure that the most vulnerable populations have access to some resources.
Mr. Humphrey wants the region to do away with the notion that there's a technical solution for every challenge.
We have to move away from this technical focus to a more adaptive focus. This idea that you have technical solutions for everything. There is a part in the region that is going to require a lot of unlearning, Most of the inequities that we see with persons with disabilities, gender-related inequities, family inequities, a lot of this stems from values and behaviors that were given to us, that we have adopted, we've inculcated, that we need to change. So that even if you start throwing more money at a lot of these things, without these systematic, adaptive changes that work, people changing how they see these things, people recognizing that there's important for us to do this kind of work, then we're going to continue to have problems.
The United Arab Emirates has reiterated its keenness to enhancing relations with Barbados in all fields. The message was conveyed by the Assistant Undersecretary for Protocol Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Saif Abdullah Al-Shassimisi. His comments came as he received a copy of credentials of Barbados' ambassador to the UAE, Annalise Cecilia Babb. He wished the new ambassador success in the performance of her duties. Ambassador Babb, meanwhile, praised the leading and prestigious position of the UAE enjoys regionally and internationally under the visionary policy of its president. Ambassador Babb replaces former Ambassador Gabriel Abed. Coming up, the Education Ministry to tackle declining rates of literacy among students.
We are your voice, the 2024 Parish Ambassadors of St. Peter.
Did you know that Barbados has a child protection bill?
The Child Protection Bill acknowledges the connection between child abuse, neglect, and mental health issues amongst our youth.
The bill gives support through mental health counseling to children who have experienced trauma or are living in challenging circumstances.
By addressing the emotional impact of abuse, we can assist children in healing and building confidence, giving them a voice to speak up and speak out. Let's all protect the children of Barbados, the gems of our nation.
The Ministry of Education is gearing up to tackle head-on any decline in the reported rate of literacy among school-age children. Word of this from Acting Education Officer at the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, Gloria Haynes, who notes they're about to launch a number of reading initiatives. She made the remark while addressing the launch of the 5th annual ICBL National Junior Spelling Bee competition at the ICBL headquarters in Bridgetown as part of Education Month.
The Ministry of Education, or METVT, is presently working on implementing the Linda Mood Bell Seeing Stars and Macmillan Education Snappy Songs reading programs, which are designed to strengthen the foundational reading skills of our young and at-risk learners, thus priming them for reading success. Your book drive is also commendable, as it dovetails with the ministry's intention to build out reading clubs, school and classroom libraries across the island.
Ms. Haynes lauded the concept of the spelling bee and the title sponsors, which made the program possible, noting that it complemented the program of the ministry in building out the education sector in the classroom as well as the individual student level.
Your involvement in the spelling bee is a testament to your belief in the importance of literacy and the development of our youth, and for that, we are truly thankful. Spelling bees are more than just competitions. They are platforms that encourage students to delve deeper into language, enhance their vocabulary, and develop confidence in their abilities. They challenge our students not only to memorize words, but also to understand the nuances of language, which will serve them well in all their future endeavors.
The National Junior Spelling Bee competition commences on October 18th and climaxes with the finals being held on November 5th. Eye Care in Barbados has come a long way with the school's eye clinic, which now has screening as a component. Dr. Trevor Drakes, who is head of department in the ophthalmology department at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, says they check children at special intervals. He was speaking as 100 children visited the department in celebration of World Sight Day, where the theme was Children Love Your Eyes.
We have started to screen those children going into secondary school, so those who are post what was commonly called a common entrance exam. And we are also doing screening of those who are preschool. So in the hopes that you can identify visual problems early and by doing so, prevent them from having challenges with learning because of eye problems. I suspect the service will continue to be expanded, but it's a stepwise approach. But we're making progress.
Dr. Drakes is also encouraging children and adults to take a break away from screens.
Teaching happened on screens, or meetings happened on screens. There was a lot more, so your world became a lot closer. As a result, we've had now lots of problems with tiredness, fatigue, etc. And that's because we've spent long times on our devices. So the simplest piece of advice I would actually give is that you follow the 20-20 rule. So every 20 minutes, you take a break for 20 seconds, and you do that by allowing your eyes, by relaxing your eyes. And the way to relax your eyes is to look out in the distance. Most of us, and I'm guilty of this as well, when you take a break, you actually move from one device to another. So I might actually have been on my computer and I move now to look at my phone, and I'm looking at Instagram or seeing WhatsApp. That's not relaxing your eyes, that's not a break.
An all-out effort is on by the local corporate community to once again elevate the reading levels of students in Barbados by reclaiming the interest of children in reading paperback books. It's an undertaking spearheaded by the Insurance Corporation of Barbados Limited, ICBL, and a number of corporate partners. Assistant Vice President of Human Resources at ICBL Limited, Gail Hinkson, expressed concern about the gradual decline in young people reading books in Barbados and the repercussions this could have for Barbados as one of the leaders of education in the region. She made a remark today during the launch of the 5th annual ICBL National Junior Spelling Bee competition at ICBL headquarters in Bridgetown.
For some time now, the decline in literacy among our children has generally been a cause of concern for education officials and Barbadians. We know that our children are no longer reading at previous levels, and I can tell you that as HR practitioners, we see it every day in the job applications we receive. Reading promotes good spelling and sentence structure. Good spelling comes from seeing words on a page and understanding the meaning and context of the words. As a result, we view the spelling bee as a way to promote the importance of the ability to spell and form grammatically correct sentences.
Ms. Hinkson says the response from the used book drive donated by Corporate Barbados has been encouraging, and she's appealing for Barbadians on a whole to join the initiative.
We still have to collect books from some of the locations. Shortly, with the help of the ministry, we will get these books into the schools that need them to start a book club or a library. The key is to get our children reading, one book at a time. We wish to thank all our participating sponsors who set up drop-off points for staff and customers to donate books. The response has been very encouraging, and there is still more time. We urge the schools and teachers leading the reading and communication charge in our primary schools to make good use of the gifts they are about to receive.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
Time now to join Anne-Marie Burke in the Sports Center. Anne-Marie?
Good evening, Wendy. We start with news of football. Empire and United Stars Alliance claimed the 2 round of 16 spots from Group F on the final night of the group stages in the ongoing Prime Minister's Cup. The action was at Orange Hill. Here we go with the last of the group stage games. These matches saw who advances from Group F. Empire and the Blue taking on Cave Hill. Both teams brought their A game to this crucial encounter, and things really got going in the 14th minute of play. The keeper is off the line, clearing the way for Kemar John to make it easy pickings, giving Empire the lead up to the half. But 1 minute into the second, things will be leveled. Watch as Roger Collins makes a run for it on the right flank. This was the making of a goal for the Bucks. Collins curls it sweetly in. This deserves a second look. What a beauty of a goal. Collins is a player to look out for. But from the winning end of things, the boys in blue were on a mission, and they conquered. Zuri Marshall with the final say. Empire 2-1 winners over Cave Hill, and into the round of 16 they go. United Stars Alliance will join them as they made a demolition job over Martindale's Road. Started with this goal lifted over the keeper's head by Jalen Branch for the only goal of the first half. But the second brought plenty fireworks. Nathan Brooms with the final touch. And it's a 2-0 scoreline. USA on the go again. The first attempt is off the upright, but Brooms was there to make wrong things right. And that's his brace. Cardinal rule, try not to play wrong in front of your own goal with the ball. Martindale's Road learned that lesson. The ball is tackled away, and when the first goal is missed, here comes Branch to make sure the second time is no mistake. USA up 4-0. And Branch will seal the deal and get his hat trick too, literally shaking the defense all by himself before letting that powerful right boot go to work again. USA is into the next stage. Final score, 5-0 over Martindale's Road.
To cricket now, Australia remain undefeated at the ICC Women's T20 World Cup after today's demolition job on Pakistan. Opting to field first at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium, Australia women dismissed Pakistan women for 82 in 19.5 overs. Ashley Gardner took 4 for 21, while Megan Schutz took 1 for 7 to become the highest wicket taker in women's T20 internationals with 144 wickets, going past Pakistan's Neela Dar's 153. That should be 143. The Aussie women replied with 83 for 1 from 11 overs to win by 9 wickets. Now, Australia women continue to lead Group A on 6 points, while Pakistan women are virtually eliminated as they only have 2 points with 1 game to play. In tomorrow's matches, South Africa women can take the lead in Group B from the West Indies if a win over Bangladesh happens, and that game is at 10 a.m. Before that, at 6 a.m., New Zealand women can move into second place in Group A with a big win over Sri Lanka women. Both matches will be live on MCTV's ESPN channel 308. Well, Wendy, that's my first look at sports. When I return, I'll have news of local basketball.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Up next on CBC's Newsnight, the Business Report.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Morning Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morningbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
In tonight's business report, Minister of Home Affairs Wilfred Abrams wants doctors to be more open-minded when it comes to using medicinal cannabis for treatment. Mr. Abrams says all aspects of medicinal cannabis needs to be on the table, and as such, acceptance and coverage of a plant as a treatment are important. He's saying moving forward, it is critical not just from the perspective of wanting a bigger and better industry for Barbados, but also for comprehensive health care. Mr. Abrams' comments came at the opening of the Can Cannabis Medical Conference and Expo, spearheaded by the Barbados Medicinal Cannabis Licensing Authority.
Why are we so hesitant as a people to explore, investigate, and find out for ourselves what actually does indeed work for us? I say all of that to say this was a very, very bold step. It was a very bold step. It was a bold step for the authority. It is a bold step, I guess, for the government. It's a bold step for all the participants in it. And I'm asking that the doctors who are here approach this with a firm understanding that medicine is an evolving science.
Acknowledging cannabis is still illegal in Barbados outside of medicinal and spiritual use, Mr. Abrams says Barbados must re-evaluate how it deals with ganja. He says discussions must now focus on what comes next.
We can't pretend that while we're addressing medicinal, that a larger conversation is not going to have to happen in respect of cannabis, right? The edibles and the psychedelics, they're available here. I mean, that's the reality. I'm not saying it further on that, but the fact that most people know how to get what it is that they want, and unless they carry it to the extreme and do something ridiculous, nothing comes of it, means that we can't pretend that it is not here. If we accept that they are here, then we have to address our minds as to what we do with it and how we deal with it. If we plan to enforce against it, then take the decision to enforce against it.
Meanwhile, the Barbados Medicinal Cannabis Licensing Authority has found a partner in the digital payment app M-Money as it seeks to overcome the local banking hurdle the industry currently faces. A memorandum of understanding was inked at the opening of the conference, which Chief Executive Officer Shanika Roberts-Odell says will create a solution to some of the challenges facing the fledgling industry. Despite this step, Ms. Roberts-Odell says hurdles still exist on the local and international fronts.
Right now, it's one of the key problems that is delaying the start of several of our licensees. So I'm really happy that we can bring that to the forefront. Now, does that mean that the banking issue is completely solved? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I have met myself on 3 separate occasions with the Barbados Banking Association. And on 3 separate occasions, they have politely but firmly told me no. But we will continue to fight. We will continue to advocate, and we will continue to agitate.
Memorandums of understanding were also signed with other strategic partners. The partnership with Export Barbados addresses issues pertaining to scientific testing and manufacturing, the marketing of the industry, along with the exploration of a medicinal cannabis waste-to-energy project. The final MOU signals the island joining other countries on board the Caribbean Cannabis Forum. Ms. Roberts-Odell details the benefits of being a part of the forum.
We'll be joining 3 of our island nations, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent, within this particular forum. We've had the opportunity to sign in March, and we took the time to really explore and understand what that would really mean for us. And so we've decided to sign today because the reality is there is in Brussels and Geneva a room of people making decisions about cannabis, and we are not there.
Here's how the stocks traded locally and regionally today.
In Jamaica, Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited, with 1,706,800 units, was the volume leader, followed by Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares and QWI Investments Limited. In Trinidad and Tobago, Grace Kennedy Limited was the volume leader, with 201,950 shares changing hands for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $747,125, followed by Massey Holdings Limited. And here in Barbados, Epley Caribbean Property Fund Development Fund was the volume leader, trading 33,500 shares at Barbados 14 cents each. And they were followed by CIBC Caribbean Bank Limited and Epley Caribbean Property Fund Value Fund.
We'll take a break and be back with the weather.
St. Philip, loud and proud. We are your 2024 Parish Ambassadors.
Did you know about Barbados' Child Protection Bill?
The Child Protection Bill establishes procedures for a situation where a child leaves or is taken from a foster home or child care center.
To ensure a safe return of the child, authorities can request a court order. This prompts an investigation into why they left and their placement in a secure location during the process.
Once the investigation is complete, the child's future placement will be decided on.
The Child Protection Bill is essential for providing all children with a safe environment and a promising future filled with hope and opportunities.
Let's all protect the children of Barbados, the gems of our nation.
This just in, a man is dead as a result of what CBC understands was a police-involved shooting. This is video of the scene at Odessa McLean Drive, My Lord's Hill, St. Michael, taken moments ago by our reporter Anesta Henry and videographer Christopher Wood. Residents say the incident happened around 5 this evening. Police have not yet released the identity of the deceased nor an official statement on the shooting. We'll bring more information on this developing story as it comes to hand. Time now to go to Carrie-Ann O'Neill and the weather picture.
Good evening to you, Wendy, and good evening, everyone. Well, a trough system generated some showers during the afternoon here in Barbados. Those winds across the region, they are moderate. They're peaking at 14 knots for us here in Barbados, and mixed weather conditions impacted the Guianas. The maximum temperature today was 33 degrees Celsius, the minimum 26 degrees. At present, the temperature stands at 28 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity 84%. The winds, they're coming in from the east. We take a look now at some atmospheric conditions across the region, where those temperatures are ranging just around 27 to 29 degrees Celsius. The humidity shows moisture is building across a number of the islands, and the winds, they're generally moderate across the region. We take a look now at our satellite feed, where early this morning the ridge pattern was our dominant feature. As a result, we had dry and stable conditions. But during the afternoon, a trough system maintained occasionally cloudy skies along with some showers. We had up to 5.2 millimeters of rainfall in St. George. The winds are peaking for us at 15 knots, and those seas, they are moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. Now, later on tonight, we are expecting that the trough system will continue to impact us here in Barbados. We'll continue to see those clouds drifting across the island. As a result, we will experience mostly cloudy skies along with some breaks as well, showers, and a very slight chance of some isolated thunderstorms. Now, further south, the trough system also maintained showers across the northern sections of the Guianas. Elsewhere had mostly fair skies. Over now in the Western Caribbean, a trough system maintained wet conditions across the Bahamas. Elsewhere had afternoon localized showers. That's our first look at the weather. After the break, we'll have the forecast.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Morning Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morningbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Welcome back. In the forecast for tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 5:48 and will set at 5:41. Now, the first high tide is expected at 12:30 in the afternoon, the first low at 5:23 in the early morning. The seas, they're moderate in open water with swells now peaking at 2 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. The winds, they're coming in from the east and they're peaking at 35 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, the trough system will continue to impact us. We are expecting mostly cloudy skies along with some clear breaks, showers, and a very slight chance of some isolated thunderstorms. Over the next 3 days, tomorrow we can expect partly cloudy skies with just a few light showers. Thereafter, a trough system will maintain some scattered showers.
From the heart of Barbados, we are your 2024 St. Thomas Parish Ambassadors. Are you aware of the Child Protection Bill of Barbados?
The Child Protection Bill focuses on the best interests of all children in Barbados, with particular attention to those who are most vulnerable.
Furthermore, it emphasizes the importance of proper care for children under 12.
Remember, if a child is left unsupervised for an extended period, it can be considered an offense and lead to legal consequences such as fines or even imprisonment, as it puts the child at risk.
By prioritizing the well-being of all children and holding adults accountable, the Child Protection Bill builds a safety net for Barbados' most precious gems. Let's all protect the children of Barbados, the gems of our nation.
And we say welcome back to Anne-Marie Burke, and I guess we're heading to the courts.
Yes, we are, as Cam Smart Assurance Heat Basketball Club can win the BABA Division I title tomorrow night and gain promotion to the Premier League after winning Game 1 of the best of 3 final series. The Heat dominated VJ Carrington Building and Maintenance Challengers at the Wildy Gym.
It's always about getting first dibs on a final series, and that's just what the boys from Heat Basketball Club did. The man to put money in the bank just now was Adrian Stewart. Their opponents were challengers who really struggled against a tight Heat defense. When the opportunities presented themselves, they claimed the points. But Heat did enough to dominate the first half to find themselves in a commanding position with all hands on deck to execute the plays, to have a 12-point lead at 37-25. And the third start of the Heat still on fire. Ricardo Toussaint with a textbook jumper. On the back foot, challengers needed to really get into the game, so they started to press harder. Jannard Brewster adds 2 to the cause. You can see challengers already putting up a fight, so where one attempt failed, sure enough someone was there to back it up. That mop-up job was done by Todd Bourne. But despite their best efforts, Heat was not relinquishing that lead. Stevenson Callender puts it up, and successfully so. As the gap widened in the scoreline even more, Jamar Headley with the one-arm dunk as the Heat ended the third still ahead at 60-42. So the final 15 was really about putting the icing on the cake. Nicholas King is at the arc and nails it. Challengers still sneaking in baskets when they got the chance. Easy does it by Gerard Grant. But the Heat were pulling that trigger from the arc more often. This time it's Ramon Simmons with that big 3. As the Heat would take a comfortable 21-point win over challengers, the first final series game taken at 78-57.
And tomorrow's game 2 is at the Barbados Community College. And that's it for sports. Back over to you, Wendy.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. We'll return after the break.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Morning Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morningbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
That's news. Thanks for viewing. Enjoy the rest of your evening.